We weren't just building a house. We were building a future for our children. A future that was stolen from us for $250,000. For 18 agonizing months, this cramped camper's been our home, all while the man we trusted with our life savings just disappeared. And we weren't his only victims. This is a story of how a Fort Worth couple, posing as the next Chip and Joanna Gaines, masterminded a massive construction scam. They left a trail of devastation, unfinished homes, and financial ruin for over 40 families across North Texas. They took nearly $5 million, and this is how they got away with it for so long. Every family has a dream. For Jeremy and his family, it was a forever home in Decatur, Texas, a place with enough space for their kids to grow up, a yard to play in, and a foundation built on years of their hard work and savings. It all started on social media, as so many things do. A charismatic couple, Chris and Raquel Judge, were making a name for themselves online. Their company, Judge DFW, had a polished, professional feel. They posted slick videos of gorgeous home makeovers, using confidence and expertise. To families like Jeremy's and dozens of others, they were magnetic. One victim, Lane Simmons, who just wanted to remodel his wife's childhood home, said they really pitched themselves as like this Chip and Joanna Gaines type of vibe. They were young, attractive, and incredibly persuasive. They weren't just selling construction. They sold a lifestyle, a beautiful, curated life that they promised they could build for you. Chris Judge was a visionary, the supposed architect and builder who could make any dream a reality. Raquel was the face of the operation, handling client relationships and smoothing over any concerns with a comforting word. They seemed like the perfect team. Their offer was a final, irresistible hook. Federal prosecutors noted that the judges consistently offer below-market bids for their projects. In the cutthroat Texas housing market, it felt like a miracle. For Jeremy's family, it meant their dream was finally within reach. They signed the contract, bursting with excitement. They were about to build their future. They had no idea they were handing their life savings to a ghost. The first check was for the deposit, the second for the foundation, the third for framing. For a few months, it looked like things were happening. Dirt was moved, concrete was poured, and the skeleton of a house started to rise. Jeremy's family would visit the site, imagining the life they would soon live inside those wooden frames. But then, the work slowed to a crawl. Days, then weeks, would pass with no one on site. That confident 4 to 6 month timeline, it became a constantly moving target. The excuses started rolling in. Supply chain issues, Chris would claim. Complexities of construction process. Raquel would explain in a soothing email. When victims questioned the endless delays, prosecutors say Chris Judge had a simple, predatory answer. Making the next payment was the key to getting things moving again. And so, families kept paying, trusting, hoping. As one victim, Kaylee Simmons, said, I kept believing and believing like, okay, we'll write another check. But the money wasn't going to the job sites. Court documents revealed a sickening pattern of deception. Funds from new clients were used to patch up shoddy work on older projects, creating a spiraling Ponzi-like scheme. Even worse, the money was bankrolling the judge's own lavish lifestyle. While families agonized over their stall homes, their savings were paying for the judge's mortgage, $10,000 in plastic surgery, and over $82,000 in Amazon purchases. The dream was rotting from the inside. For Jeremy Congleton, the project froze completely after framing and a roof went up. He had poured $250,000 into a shell that was quickly becoming a monument to his family's stolen future. Kristen Newman, another victim who was building her dream home after paying off law school loans, started to question the bills. I said, hey, can I have that money back? Because you haven't done it, and that's part of this other draw. And he said, I don't have it anymore. Windows and doors she had paid for simply never showed up. Then they vanished. The calls went straight to voicemail. The texts were left on read. The emails bounced. Chris and Raquel Judge went dark. He just walked off, Newman recalled. He just stopped talking to us. Never came back. The families were left in an impossible position. Many, like the Simmons family, had to move into apartments, suddenly paying both rent and a mortgage on a house they couldn't live in. For Jeremy's family, it was even worse. With their savings wiped out, they were forced to move into a camper. For 18 long months, that cramped space became their prison. The dream of a family home had shrunk to the size of an RV, a constant, crushing reminder of everything they had lost. The financial strain was unbearable, and it ultimately pushed them into bankruptcy. As the silence from the judges dragged on, the isolated nightmares of dozens of families started to connect. A Facebook group for victims brought the true, horrifying scale of fraud into focus. They weren't alone. They were all victims of a calculated, widespread scam. Federal investigators from the FBI and the Euless Police Department began to piece the puzzle together. The investigation, which covered the period from August 2020 to January 2023, uncovered conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The core deception was audacious. Chris Judge was not a licensed architect. He had built his entire brand on a complete lie. The scheme was simple but brutally effective. Lure in victims with a polished social media presence and too-good-to-be-true prices. Collect a series of installment payments, and then abandon the project. Bank records showed a clear pattern of using one victim's money to either pay for another's project or, more often, for their own personal gain. The numbers were staggering. Over 40 families across 6 North Texas counties had been defrauded. The total losses climbed to nearly $5 million. Some families lost $200,000. Others, like Jeremy Congleton, lost $250,000. Plea documents show one couple paid the judges almost $364,000. Victims were left with structurally unsound or unsafe homes, mortgages on properties they couldn't live in, and gutted savings accounts. Lane Simmons, who had trusted the Chip and Joanna Gaines pitch, had a contractor friend look at the work and call it the worst job he had ever seen. For Kristen Newman, the realization was chilling. "This isn't just a bad business decision, or I don't know how to build houses," she said. This was, he chose to lie, he chose to steal. And Raquel chose to lie and to steal along with him. The digital ghosts were finally being exposed as flesh and blood criminals. In late 2025, the whole facade came crashing down. Faced with a mountain of evidence, Christopher and Raquel Judge pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The guilty pleas brought a sense of validation, but not relief. In the spring of 2026, the sentences were handed down. Christopher Judge was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. Raquel Judge received a sentence of up to 5 years. While they're also required to pay restitution, it's a harsh reality that the victims may never see a dime of their money. The nearly $5 million they stole from their client is gone, spent on a lifestyle built on other people's dreams. Now, the families are left to pick up the pieces. Some are drowning in credit card debt from trying to finish the work themselves. Others have filed for bankruptcy, their financial futures shattered. All of them are paying a mortgage on a nightmare. Those empty rooms and half-built houses stand as stark reminders of the trust they gave and the devastation they got in return. This was more than just a financial crime. It was an attack on the family's sanctuary, on the very idea of home. The story of the Judge DFW scam is a terrifying cautionary tale. It shows just how easily charismatic scammers can use our dreams against us. But you can protect yourself. The key is to stop, think, and check before you hand over a single dollar. First, verify everything. Chris Judge claimed he was an architect, but he wasn't. Never take a contractor at their word. In Texas, you can verify licenses for many trades through the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, TDLR, website. A quick search can save you from financial ruin. Second, watch for red flags. The judges offered bids that were way lower than their competitors. If a deal seems too good to be true, it is. High-pressure sales tactics, demand for a huge upfront payment in cash, and a manufactured sense of urgency are all giant red flags. Whenever possible, pay with a credit card, which offers much better fraud protection than cash or debit cards. Third, document everything. Don't just rely on online ads. Get referrals from people you actually know and trust. Ask for a list of recent clients and call them. Before you sign a contract, have a lawyer review it. Make sure it has clear milestones, a payment schedule tied to completed work, and penalties for delays. Keep a detailed record of every single payment conversation and email. Your documentation is your best weapon if things go south. If you even suspect you're being scammed, act fast. Contact your bank. Report it to your local police, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3, and the Federal Trade Commission. The quicker you act, the better your chances of limiting the damage. The case of Chris and Raquel Judge is a story of profound betrayal. They didn't just steal money, they stole futures. They preyed on one of the most fundamental dreams a person can have, the dream of a safe, happy home. For Jeremy Congleton and his family, life will never be the same. The 18 months in a camper, the bankruptcy, the loss of $250,000, those are wounds that don't just heal. Their story, and the stories of over 40 other families, is a powerful warning. In an age of influencers and slick marketing, it's more important than ever to look past the polish and check the facts. The dream of a perfect home is powerful, but letting that dream cloud your judgment can lead you into a nightmare. Christopher and Raquel Judge are now facing the consequences, with long prison sentences ahead. But for their victims, the real sentence is a life forever changed by the couple who sold them a dream and delivered a disaster. Please share this story. The more people who know about these tactics, the fewer victims there will be. If you or someone you know has gone through something similar, share your story in the comments. By raising our voices together, we can expose these predators and protect our communities. Thank you for watching.